Hello, people. Welcome back to another video by your good friend, the Big Aniki, Chad Marco. Before I get started, attack the like button, subscribe, and let's begin. So, you guys know, I'm a 4chan addict. I'm on 4chan a little bit too much. And I've been going to the V board recently, and there have been a lot of threads and discussions about a particular issue in the video game industry. In fact, I made a video talking about this a while ago, talking about, female characters being desexualized in video games. In particular, I was talking about, Tifa in Final Fantasy VII and Jill in Resident Evil 3. With Tifa, they had her wear like the sports bra shirt under her normal like white shirt that barely covered her big tits, and they gave her like they covered up her arms and gave her stockings or something, like just basically censored her overall sex appeal, or they didn't really embrace the sexiness of the character like they did in the original game. And there was a similar thing that they did with Jill in Resident Evil 3, where instead of her having her normal outfit, which was a blue tube top and black mini skirt, she had on black pants and a blue tank top with a white shirt under it. I didn't really mind that outfit as much, but I hated how when they gave her old outfit, they gave her like boy shorts under the skirt instead of her white panties. So, you're seeing these examples of, characters being desexualized, but now it seems to me and other people that game developers are actually going out of their way to make some of these characters downright ugly. And the most recent example of that is Tanya from Mortal Kombat 1. Now, I know you think Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 1 is the newest Mortal Kombat game. They're just kind of doing that thing where it's like, we're going back to the basics, the old, retelling this, that sort of thing. But this is the newest Mortal Kombat game. And they've released, I think, a video of Tanya, and immediately people were unable to ignore the fact that this bitch is ugly as hell. She looked like a crackhead off the streets. She ugly. I mean, let's just call it what it is. But the thing is, I'm not surprised, because if you guys don't remember, I believe NetherRealm Studios, the developers of Mortal Kombat, they've made it a point to not make their female characters sexy or have like very sexualized designs intentionally. So this has been a thing since, I believe, like Mortal Kombat 10 or 11, where they started making their female characters less sexy on purpose. And there was even an article that came out about it where they talked about this new direction they were going in, as far as why they weren't making their female characters overtly sexual anymore, in terms of how they would dress, the size of their breasts, their outfits, the fat ass and all that. They basically toned down the overall sexiness of their female characters. And of course, a lot of people find that very silly in a franchise where one of the biggest selling points is gratuitous violence and gore and blood and ripping people's faces off. But ever since around that time, it seems to be more and more of a trend, not just in Mortal Kombat, but in other games as well. And I believe there's a new Fable game coming out, and a lot of people were talking about the trailer where they showed this girl who I guess she's supposed to be like a main character or something, and she looks like a homeless fentanyl addict. she looked like she looked like just some homeless, ugly chick you would see down by the damn bus station or something. But basically, we're having a lot of developers that seem to be shying away from designing their female characters to be overtly sexual, right? And a lot of people are wondering, like, what's going on? Why is this even happening? Why, like, why is this a thing now? And I have a theory on that, and I believe that I'm correct in this theory. But I want you guys to think back a couple years ago, because maybe you guys don't know, or maybe you guys don't remember. But a few years ago, there was a feminist named Anita Sarkeesian. Now, here's what it says about her, just real briefly. Anita Sarkeesian is a Canadian-American feminist, media critic, and public speaker. She is the founder of Feminist Frequency, a website that hosts videos and blah, blah, blah. Oh, and commentary analyzing portrayals of women in popular culture. Okay? So a few years ago, this Anita Sarkeesian, she started making videos discussing how women were portrayed in video games. In particular, she was talking about how women were sexualized in video games in terms of like how they were designed, you know, their outfits, them having big breasts and fat asses, you know, just basically being sexy female characters in video games. And she took issue with that. And she wanted developers to go in a new direction with how they portray women in video games. But fine, right? Now, it seems like a lot of people seem to have forgotten about that. But now I'm not going to blame her specifically, but I think she definitely played a role in why developers are making their female characters ugly or desexualizing them. Because what she basically contributed to was she made how women were portrayed or sexualized in video games a feminist talking point. And so what you have to realize in the modern era is that a lot of these corporations and companies, they are all about pandering to these different diversity groups. It's kind of like when you look at how you're seeing the increase in LGBT representation in video games, Bridget being transgender. In Dead Space, there were audio logs where people were talking about being gay. You have Marissa in Street Fighter 6, who I believe is bisexual. I think in The Last of Us 2, there was like a transsexual or gay character. So you're seeing more like gay and trans representation in video games and movies. You're also seeing more racially diverse casts in video games and movies as well. You know, a lot of people were talking about when the Hogwarts game came out, how it was like this multicultural, right? Like blacks and whites and Mexicans, Asians all together. And the other group that is being pandered to, though, is also the feminists. So they're pandering to racial minorities. They're pandering to the LGBT community. And they're also pandering to women or feminists. And so again, once how women were being portrayed in video games became a feminist talking point, that became a way for developers to cater or pander to feminists or women. And that's why we're seeing this, or at least that's part of the reason why we're seeing this. Because they're seeing it as a way of pandering to feminist ideas. Now, you know, when I look at Mortal Kombat in particular, because I've been looking at different pictures and whatnot of their female characters. And look, I'll be honest, I'm a coomer. I like seeing big titties and fat asses in my video games. That's obvious, right? But the other issue with developers doing this, I'm looking at the female characters in Mortal Kombat, and what I'm noticing is that they look so stale. They look stale. They look dry. They look sterilized. And see, I believe this is the result of them trying to go out of their way to make sure that their female characters aren't portrayed as being excessively or unnecessarily sexualized. But I think in the process of this, they're actually making their characters look worse, because it's like they're not going all the way with trying to make their characters stand out and look exciting and, you know, having these idealistic features. Like, I think this Jax has a daughter in the Mortal Kombat story, right? And I'm looking at her picture, right? I think her name is Jackie Briggs. And I'm looking at her picture. I'm like, yo, this chick look like somebody that'll be working in the goddamn the goddamn Maxway as a cashier. No offense. Like, she not like ugly. She's not like ugly like Tanya or the Fable girl. But look at her design. She looks boring. She looks stale. She looks like a Grand Theft Auto 5 NPC. So she doesn't look like a special important character. And part of that is because they're limiting themselves in terms of how they design these female characters. They're trying too hard to shy away from sexualizing them, and they've gone to such an extreme that these designs come across to me as just being bland. I mean, look at her. What is this? This is an average black chick. Well, you know, she ain't as fat as the average black chick, but other than being of healthy body weight, this is like the average black chick you would see in Walmart working as a cashier or something. She got no pop, no flair, no pizzazz. But, you know, another thing that I notice is that when it comes to this whole issue of how women are portrayed in video games, particularly how they're sexualized, I find it funny that people don't notice or talk about how men are sexualized as well. So I went back and I looked at the fighting game cast from different fighting game series, right? Just to make my point. So let's look here. So this is the original Street Fighter 2 cast, right? Now, Chun-Li was the only female character there, but obviously she has sex appeal that goes all the way back to Street Fighter 2. You see she got wide hips. You see she got some nice sized breasts here. She's always been known for those thick thighs hidden under those brown stockings. I can clearly remember that Chun-Li was pretty much my introduction to female sexual attractiveness, because I remember even as a kid playing this game thinking it's something about them legs that I like. But I digress. Now see, people will look at Chun-Li and, oh, okay, she's not like heavily sexualized, but it's definitely there. But when you look at the rest of the cast, which is male, what do you see? You got E Honda, no shirt on, big muscles, right? You have Vega, no shirt on, 5% body fat, muscular, beautiful face. Well, this picture is kind of, low quality, but I'm sure we all know what Vega looks like. Ryu, chest out, abs, muscles, low body fat percentage. Zangief, built like Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan fused together. And then fused with John Cena. Ken, same thing as Ryu. Balrog, huge arms, muscular. Guile. Look, every male in this game, muscular, fit. Some of them very tall, handsome, low body fat percentage. And see, this is important to point out because if you're really being fair, women are really oftentimes no more sexualized than the men. But people don't really look at it like that because oftentimes women don't really talk about, their attraction or being into like male video game characters. But it's definitely a thing. And you gotta understand what makes men sexually attractive is different from what makes women sexually attractive. So just for example, I've been hit on by gay dudes before, right? And oftentimes, like one time it was when I was running with no shirt on. And this gay guy pulled up in a car next to me and tried to talk to me and shit like that. So when I say, Vega doesn't have a shirt, yes, that matters. Being shirtless and muscular, that's part of a male being sexualized. Because if you are attracted to men, then that's what you would want to see. Men being sexualized is not a man in a thong unless you're into femboys or some shit like that. But a man being sexualized is going to look different from a woman being sexualized. And what I find funny about this whole, I don't know if it's a debate, but the fact that some people find an issue with this is that they don't talk about how men are sexualized. So let's go to the next example, right? So this is Bloody Roar. These are 5 characters from the Bloody Roar cast, right? Now you see the 2 girls here. Obviously, they're very cute. This girl in the pink here, nice thick thighs, hourglass shape, about a D cup breast. This girl here, tight shorts, showing off her nice figure. C cups, again, cute. But now people look at that. Oh, look at how they're sexualized, right? At least somewhat, right? But then look at Yugo. Small vest, chest all out. And look at his pose too. Like he's doing a pose for a goddamn male model magazine. 6-pack abs, 5% body fat. Look at this guy in the middle here. Now, his body ain't all out, but muscular arms, low body fat percentage, and that dainty pretty boy pose, right? And you got Buckaroo over here. Again, muscular, handsome. Next example. So this is from, oh my God. So this is from Tekken. I think this is Tekken 4. Now look, you got Eddie Gordo, shirt open, chest out, low body fat percentage, abs. These are bears. But now look at the girls. So this girl right here, schoolgirl outfit, legs showing, nice, beautiful legs. This girl got a sundress on. Look at, not heavily sexualized, but it's there a little bit, right? Sexy schoolgirls, okay. Hey Hachi. I mean, I forgot. I know these aren't underwear, but come on. This is a gay man's wet dream. Jin, shirtless, 2% body fat, huge chest, abs, biceps, shoulders. I forgot. Wait, which one of these guys is Jin? I always get them mixed up. Don't matter. Same guy. Shirt open, low body fat percentage, huge. Look at this, but people don't notice it. It goes right over people's heads how men are sexualized too. So here's more characters from Tekken 4. So you have, I think this guy's name is Brian, no shirt, low body fat percentage, abs, huge chest. Yoshimitsu, a real Chad here. But what's this guy named Lei Long, I believe? Shirt, why is his shirt open? Abs, chest out, low body fat percentage, handsome. Steve Fox, handsome. Low body fat percentage, abs, muscular. And then you got these girls here, Nina. Now, Nina's kind of covered up, but you see she got some cleavage out here. Nice D or E size breasts. Look, some sexualization going on here, but nothing more than what you see with the guys. Christy, again, nice shape. Got like is that like a bikini top or something? And D cup breast. But again, they're no more sexualized than the men are. You gotta look at it from a different lens. Look at it how a gay man would see it or a heterosexual woman would see it. This would be sexy to them. So here we got Virtua Fighter, the Virtua Fighter cast. Now, I think the only two girls are Sarah. I think her name is Pei or something. Now, Sarah kind of covered up, but nice feminine shape. And obviously some emphasis on her breast here. But then you look at Akira, chest out, muscular arms. You got, I forget some of these guys' names. Arms out, chest out a little bit, muscular. This guy, I think his name is Wolf, no shirt on, muscular abs, huge chest. This guy got the dad bod thing going on here in the back. So this is the Garo Mark of the Wolves cast. Now B. Janet will be considered like the main like sex appeal eye candy girl of the game. But again, just look around at the guys. Look at this dude in the back here, the wrestler, no shirt on, hyper muscular. Then you got, he got a little chest out over here. You got these guys here, again, pretty boy. Then you got muscular, low body fat percentage. So again, it's the same thing across the board, but people don't really look at it like that. Now let's look at this. This is Vampire Savior, Darkstalkers. Now, obviously you have Morgan, who's a succubus. So of course she's gonna be sexy. She got nice cleavage there, nice feminine shape. Definitely an overtly sexual character. Lilith, which is like just the lolly version of Morgan. You have Felicia, who is basically like a butt-ass naked cat girl. But hold up now. Now let's look at the guys though. In particular, and I know this goes completely over people's heads. Look at Rikuo, a butt-ass naked fish man, but he's handsome, beautiful, muscular. But nobody talks about that. See, people will look at Morgan and think, oh, she's so sexualized. Why do they do that? But then Rikuo is just the fish version of Morgan. Rikuo is just the male fish version of Morgan. I mean, come on now. Then you got Victor here, big muscular Frankenstein guy with his chest out. You gotta think. If they decided to make Victor a female Frankenstein monster or something, then it would have been the character would have been sexualized differently in terms of the outfit, but it still would have been sexualized the way he is now. Again, muscular, big, shirt open, chest out. I just had to make that point because for people to focus so much on how girls are portrayed or designed in video games while not even taking time to think about how men are, it shows the bias, and it shows that, the concern is really coming from a particular group that is more concerned about their own taste as opposed to really trying to make a statement for the sake of both genders. But so I found a thread on V that was talking about this whole issue, and I just wanted to show some of the posts, right? So this was around the time when the video footage of Tanya first came out, and then the OP says, no, this can't be Tanya. And then this guy says, what happened? This guy says, fuck, I knew it. Voiced by Deborah Wilson. She can't keep getting away with it. Apparently, Deborah Wilson is a black female voice actor who does a lot of voices in video games. Apparently, she's pretty good. But I think some people are tired of her being face scanned and them using her likeness for characters because she's not a very attractive woman. So this guy says, Tanya has always been black and was included in Mortal Kombat X Black History Month promotion. Chud Cope is hilarious. What next? Y'all gonna cope about her lesbian romance with Melina? So some people were confused about Tanya's race because I believe some people thought she was supposed to be Egyptian or something, but apparently she's black. But I think most of the issue really isn't about her race. I think it's about how fucking ugly she is. And so this guy says, literally the ugliest fighting game character to date. Not even intentionally ugly characters are uglier. And the guy beneath him says, I'm looking forward to the weeks of, actually, she's super heckin' hot shit post. So fun. She is ugly. That's a ugly goddamn character. This guy says, why do all the women in this game look so frumpy? Lee May looks more like an Asian buffet hostess than a fighter. Tanya may have been darker skinned, but she always looked like she fit as an Edenian. Now she just looks like another black lady. What has game design come to these days? Does the EGS really crush making attractive designs this badly? And so he's saying exactly what I was thinking. The women in these games look frumpy. And the reason why they look like that is because the developers are going out of their way to make sure they don't come off as being overtly sexual. But again, the problem is when you limit yourself like that, you have less room to make your character stand out. Like you gotta think, every female character doesn't have to be like sexy. Look at Street Fighter 3rd Strike, for instance, right? Like Elena is probably the most like she's probably the most sexualized character in that game. Great body, tall, just beautiful, and she got on like her outfit is basically bra and panties, if you want to call it that, right? But then you look at Makoto, for instance, which has like a whole tomboy look. She has on a gi, and her chest isn't even really exposed because she has on a shirt under her gi, you know? And yeah, so female characters don't have to be like, all of them don't have to be like overtly. So even Ibuki, for instance, she got on basic ninja attire, but she's still cute in her design. But the point is, if you go into making female character designs and say, okay, they can't be sexy, no cleavage, no big titties, all that, you're limiting yourself. And so everybody starts to kind of look the same. Like imagine a Street Fighter with 4 or 5 Makoto looking bitches. Right? That's not very fun. And that's not a lot to work with. But when you can make characters, you know, sexy or whether it's a male character or a female character, when you can go in that direction, then you can make the cast look more colorful and diverse, more attractive, more pretty, more sexy. You know, it gives you more to work with. And they're limiting themselves, and thus their female cast just look bland. They look like chicks you would see at the grocery store. This guy says, you can't even seriously argue that they don't intentionally make women ugly at this point. We've surpassed parody. Yes, it's obviously something that they intentionally do. Like I said, I think that it's their way of catering to feminist interests. Not even that. And see, the thing is, I don't even really think that feminists are just sitting around waiting to see what the Mortal Kombat female. I'm not saying it like that. But I think that it's one of those things where once it's in the air, once somebody says it and it gets enough traction, it becomes a thing without people even having to enforce it. Because you gotta think, imagine if Mortal Kombat did not go in this direction and they continue to make sexy female characters. What would really be the consequence of that? Probably would, you know, maybe some feminist outrage. There'll be a handful of articles online, but it wouldn't be anything that would damage, you know, their studio or anything like that. But the point is that it's been said, it's been talked about, and now it's established as a feminist talking point. And so that's a way for them to cater to them. It's kind of like when you look at, like, just for instance, like trans representation in video games. Nothing has to be legally enforced. It's just that when certain things are said, like this is how you should represent trans characters, or this is how you should do it, or this is what you should say, and don't misgender them, it becomes a thing without anyone even being in position to enforce it. It becomes a thing because people begin to become afraid of offending these groups, of offending anyone. And so it gains power without there even really being real guns behind it, if you will, because it was said, it was established, and now it's a thing. And the more developers that cater and pander to these groups, it becomes more and more real. But if you defy it, I believe oftentimes what you'll find is that, again, the threat isn't even really there. Again, it'll just be some fake, weak ass outrage and articles, and then it'll fade away. This guy says, LMAO ain't buying this shit. Now, let me tell you guys, I would love to play some Mortal Kombat, but ever since they released that article years ago talking about how they're intentionally desexualizing their female characters, I have made a vow not to play or buy or support their games. I don't even watch tournament footage of the games being played at a high level. And some people might think that's petty, but you got to really think about the disrespect that it is when a developer that specializes in blood, gore, extreme violence, death, like some of the, I mean, really absolutely abhorrent subject matter, decides to have the moral high ground when it comes to girls looking sexy or physically attractive in their video games. The absurdity of their stance on this is to me can't be interpreted as anything less than disrespect to the fans and to gamers. And I would never support a studio that would do something so crazy. And I'm not even saying it like every game has to have like these super sexualized characters, male or female. You know, it's kind of like, you look at a game like, and this is just random, right? But a game like Heavy Rain. Would Heavy Rain need sexy? I wouldn't play Heavy Rain expecting female characters with big titties and wearing leotards and having fat asses and shit like that. You know, like every game doesn't have to have it. But I think when games go in that direction for the sake of pandering, especially in the case of a game like Final Fantasy VII, where they refuse to embrace what Tifa represented as a character in terms of her sex appeal, to me, that's just unacceptable. And it's even, I consider it disrespectful to the fans, to the people buying the games, and to the franchise itself to do some crazy shit like that. And so I commend this guy for sticking to his morals and saying, look, me talking about morals in regards to big titty video game characters. But look, it matters. And so this guy says, MK1 character design is the blandest I've ever seen. It just looks like a roster of random normal people. That's exactly what I was saying. And that's the problem. They're going so out of their way to make sure that these girls don't look so, that they don't trip the goddamn sex appeal alarm, that now they look like stale chips. So what is the solution? If there is one, what is the solution, to this whole situation? And I think it goes back to what that other guy said. You know, I ain't buying this shit. You know, you got to put your money where your mouth is. All these guys complaining about how ugly Tanya is and all that, and they're going to still buy the game. Most of these guys are still going to buy the game. And I think if you just put your money where your mouth is and you stop supporting these developers that do this goofy shit, maybe you'll have an effect. Or maybe at the very least, you know, you won't have to subject yourself to this kind of nonsense. But yeah, I think guys have to stop enabling this behavior by supporting these developers and buying these games. When you see this sort of thing happening right in your face, then you need to take action. You need to take action with your money. You need to take action by not buying or supporting these things. That's the best thing that you could possibly do. I'm not saying that it would change anything, but it's probably the best that you could do. So I hope you guys enjoy that video, and I'll be around seeing you guys later. So, Johnny.